Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You guys are probably all over the world, and you're here. You're joining us for the town hall. So, welcome to the town hall. I'm Agrode. I'm the founder and CEO of Splinterlands. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. I'm grateful to this community. I'm grateful that we've had some green candles of late. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there have been a handful of pretty large green candles. That's exciting to me. I really think that the worst might just be behind us, which would be fantastic. I'd love to start 2023 as like the beginning of the next bull cycle with the 2022 bear laid dead by the side of the road and all that. Whatever. It would be exciting. It would be delicious. Um, and there are some people that say I prefer to build in bear markets because it's easier to get people and it's easier to do some things. And that's true. It's also harder to get some people's attention where they're like, Bitcoin's dead and it's never coming back. Crypto is dead. NFTs are dead. And you just can't like get their attention. Whereas like other people at other times are like, those same people would be screaming for that same attention. So these are the things that we have to consider. We have kind of a light show today. We're at the beginning of our sprints, so we'll talk some about what's coming out and what we're working on and what we think there is to do out there. But it's it's not the heaviest sprint we've ever had, so or the heaviest portion. But we got some updates. There's some things to talk about, and we got a handful of people here to go sort of share what's happening around in the Splinterlands ecosystem. So we got ourselves an investigator. We got ourselves a Nate. We got ourselves a weird goatee. Weird goatee, do you have the rest of your beard yet? I can't quite tell on my screen. It looks still kind of goatee-ish.
I'm having to go the homeless route and just not shave for a week, but it's coming in. It's almost there.
Okay, like another couple weeks, and you'll get the beard. No, well,
Weeks,
just one.
a few days, and I just trim it in like carving out of granite.
Yeah, I shaved yesterday, and this is what all came back.
Sure.
Okay.
Wait, where did the hair go in the first place? Did you get in a fight with a lawnmower, or what happened there?
Well, yeah, I got in a fight with a bad beard trimmer, but it's close enough to a lawnmower.
Nate, maybe you could tell us what you're feeling like we're going to be talking about today.
I mean, I'll touch on a little bit of stuff here and there for creative, but I think the biggest focus that's right in our face and staring us down is probably the soulbound reward cards. So might talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we should definitely go over those. Investigator, is there a release happening tomorrow? Or do you think that there will be, our sprints are 2 weeks long? Do you think we'll continue to have weekly? Do you think that we'll continue to have weekly updates, or do you think it's going to shift to bi-weekly? Tell me a little bit about like what you see that schedule looking like.
Well, we do have an update planned for tomorrow, though it's pretty light on game content. A lot of it's going to focus on background infrastructure work and doing stuff with the servers and the database. But I think we're probably going to start to maybe scale towards every 2 weeks where there's a big update and maybe a little bug fixes in between. But that's definitely something we should probably talk about.
All right, rock on. So we got some updates, and then weird goatee. Is there anything going on, or have the players all abandoned ship? Is it just the 4 of us now, or are they still out there, still active, and still kvetching?
It's actually less kvetching than you would think that there would be. Lots of players are excited by the roadmap that we've put out. And today I'm going to be talking about another ghost card tournament that's happening this week, plus our very first DAO haul that's happening on Friday.
Can we call it a Brawlhalla?
DAO, you can call it whatever you want, man. I got to be there either way.
Nice. Okay, rock on. All right, well, that's our table of contents for today. Pretty awesome. Excited that we'll be able to go share all that and kind of talk through all that. I guess I think we're starting with words from wizards. So why don't we? I don't know. We could just leave it here. It's a small crew today. Why don't we all just hang out together? So, investigator, can you kind of like walk us through what you think is going to be happening? Like, what are the updates? Is there anything contentious going in tomorrow, or is this kind of routine stuff, or what do you think?
Well, probably the main tentpole for tomorrow is we're switching the buy DEC and buy SPS pages over to tech modernization versions. So you will probably not see much of a difference, but it's going to be on the new architecture. If you're on your profile, that won't reload over to a different page. Other than that, as I said, a lot of the work tomorrow is going to be around server and database maintenance. We're going to try to make some changes to alleviate the rental issues we've been seeing for the past week since we kind of scaled back the database server a little bit last week, and runs the game okay as long as we don't do any outside reporting or large queries at the same time, in which case it's been causing some problems, as players have noticed.
So what's the fix, or what's the planned fix for that? Are we going back to the old ways? Are we doing something new? What's that look like?
We're going to change around a couple tables that are, we'll say, problematic, so we can do better ways of archiving data, basically. Right now, we had been running on a pretty old code base for our database, the actual program that runs the database. So we had a lot of basically scheduled queries that would run and archive off stuff, like copy it out from one table to another and delete it. And we're going to be moving to more modern configurations where it's just the table basically automatically archives itself. We're also probably going to slightly scale the server back up. We scaled it down about half the capacity that it used to be, and we may move it slightly back up so it doesn't have as many issues when we do need to run a lot of stuff against it.
That seems fair. Are there anything that you think the players will actually see, like any new visual updates going out, or is it all back end?
Pretty minor. On the buy DEC SPS page, I think we fixed up where the what is DEC button goes to, and the what is SPS button now has been cleaned up a little bit. But all in all, hopefully users won't really notice a difference when they use that page. Maybe it'll be faster, hopefully.
All righty. Now, hey, let's put up the roadmap. So I kind of want everybody to go chime in here. So Nate, Weird Goatee, and InvestyGator, just try to give me some thoughts on the roadmap and what we have here. I guess I'll just kind of give a high level lay of the land. With the roadmap, we got the deck batteries coming. We have land, which includes the market, the interactive map view, and surveying, and that's generally the finality of land V1. We got market stuff where we're talking about season rentals, new cards, which are the Soulbound reward cards and the quarterly promo card sale. We have quality of life. These are group editions by set. We got some ranked battle things like new reward, new ratings changes, new rule sets, and 3 rule sets per battle. And finally, we have some stuff around the SPS validators where we're trying to get them live internally and actually get the delegation functioning on them. So those are some of what's happening in Q1. I mean, do you guys want to kind of weigh in or share what you're most excited about, or what give any kind of status or any thoughts on any of these guys? Feel free to just chime in if the muse has embraced you.
I mean, I can speak quickly to the guild alliances. Guild alliances, we Matt's kind of talked about it a little bit on previous town halls here, where it's like a guild of guilds, right? It's a larger guild grouping to where you can bring many guilds under the same kind of umbrella. One of the things, though, that I want to speak about is that it's not happening in a vacuum, right? Like there are problems that we've already identified that come along with scaling a guild, right? Like if there's a small problem now when it's affecting just one guild, the way it's going to affect 10 guilds that are in a group, is much bigger. So guild alliances in and of itself isn't just, oh, here we slapped on a new guild thing. There's other kind of underlying fixes that go along with the installing that guild alliance to really make it so that we're not scaling problems that are already kind of bothersome into like huger issues. And that's kind of like some of the other things that we see, like the quality of life thing that Cryptomancer has been working on to get things grouped by edition or group editions by the set themselves. Like that's a problem that was small and then it just ballooned really big really quickly because of just like underlying stuff. So we're trying to plan out ahead, and a lot of these are kind of like high level up top type things that have many other smaller things like problems and bug fixes that come along with expanding them along it with itself. So guild alliances should be cool because it brings in, other than just the alliances, other fixes and implementations that go along for guilds.
Yeah, I'm hoping that down the line we have like not just guild versus guild combat, but something like guild alliance versus guild alliance combat.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like 2024 beyond, but it's something like we have a land that land is some game monster created PvE thing, or maybe there's some PvP, but it's going to be like guild alliance competing against guild alliance. That should be the dream.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially because I'm still dying for guild v guild tournaments, and the way that we kind of hopefully can implement those and make those cool, so that it's not just brawls, but like there's some other stuff that's not on here that's pretty exciting, but the stuff that is on here, especially the new player stuff from what's been being kicked around, and I know is being worked on and looked at for the new player stuff. I know that the player base as a whole is going to be very excited about that, probably more than SPS staking for ranked battle, which is what I've seen the most discussion about recently. But new players and guild stuff is going to be pretty exciting for Q2.
Yeah, you're bringing in some of the Q2 things. So I guess I'll share those in case you can't read this or you're just listening somewhere. Weirdbeard talked a bunch about some of the things in the second quarter of our 2023 roadmap, where we get market, where there's SPS delegation rental markets and card bundles. We have new cards because we're planning some quarterly promos. We have ranked battles where we finally get rid of collection power and we replace it with SPS staking. We get Roonies, where Rooney combining starts getting to be a thing. You have SBS validators, so SBS governance player proposals and SBS validator nodes testnet live. We got guilds and the guild alliances, and then he was sharing some of the new player improved tutorial and one-click sent rentals. Nate, anything? What out of this feels like it's burning a hole in your life with the creative department?
No, for sure. I mean, with creative specifically, a good portion of our resources are always dedicated for way down the road because we need that much runway in order to like be ready for when that quarter rolls around. But at the same time, we have resources equally focused on the short term, like what is happening right now in quarter one. How can we pass the baton to engineering so that they have what they need from a design perspective, or animations, or art, or all the rest of the stuff. So if I look at quarter one of this roadmap, I guess the big stuff is the deck batteries. So that's pretty amazing. A hallmark, a milestone in our company's history is as we continue to integrate and become this seamless machine where it's not just company and community, but company and community combined, working together, collaborating to bring forth and improve and make everything successful for everybody. That's pretty freaking cool. So although, I do got to make sure that we integrate the UX side of things more in these proposals at the beginning stages. I do think that it is something that is a pretty nifty idea. And during the course of this town hall, I can share a little bit of where that's at, where that's going. Season rentals. Let's see what else you got on here. Group additions by set. I've spoke about that before. I think that is really cool, and I'm really happy that we're doing it. I'm really happy it's happening in quarter one. So I guess the big one there is probably land. Every day, like literally every day, not only every day, but literally as we're talking right here on the town hall, I see updates happening in the team Slack in regards to the land and upgrading, how that's going to look and everything. It's pretty exciting to see it happening. Like we've talked win land for so long that I think for a lot of people it doesn't even feel real. It doesn't even feel like it really is happening. But I'm telling you guys that's a big focus this year is actually like, making it happen, making it a reality. So in the next few weeks, you'll see hopefully market functionality hit the website, and then maybe a few weeks after that, the full map view. Although Farpatrod has really had his head down, just going full steam ahead in trying to, like, I don't know what he's doing. He has like multiple arms and multiple keyboards, and the guy's crazy. He's just working like a robot nonstop. So I see him doing map functionality at the same time as market stuff, and he's just all over the place, and he's doing pretty good with that. So I'm pretty amazed at just his work ethic, his dedication, and how much he brings to the table in making sure that land is going to happen. We've been handing off UI specs and continue to hand off UI specs to engineering so that they have what they need for all that cool land stuff. And then probably in the next few town halls, I'll share what the art team has been coming up with in terms of there's some really cool concepts for occupied land and keeps and castles and all the stuff we're going to need for the surveying phase. Because although you won't be able to construct buildings yet, there are certain land types that require that there be something there already, and that's coming to a close. The final designs for that stuff, and I'll share that as we get closer. And then what else you got on here? Rank battles, new rule sets. Oh yeah, I see a lot of development happening with the rule set stuff, and we're making new graphics and stuff to make that a reality. So that I'm a little nervous myself actually about 3 rule sets per battle. I mean, I play the game, if not every day, then every other day. I'm there playing the game along with everybody else, and sometimes just 2 rule sets. The timer's ticking away at the final seconds, and I'm literally, I would say half the time, I'm clicking the battle button right when it's going 3, 2, 1. I'm one of those guys. So if you play me, sorry, you're probably waiting. Golly, when's this guy gonna make his team so I can hurry up and go to the next battle? Yeah, that's me. I'm taking every single second. But yeah, that's what I got for quarter one. Lots of cool stuff happening.
Yeah, I've been I started having a couple meetings with Matt around land, trying to plan for phase 2. So we'll see as we start kind of nailing down details of buildings and production and resources. We're laying, all this stuff. Players always seem to get confused when we talk about roadmap, because we'll be talking about like how some of the production rules might work for land, and we'll be talking about how some of the Guild Alliance stuff might work, and we'll talk about how like land V1 is happening, and it feels confusing because they don't get to see that there's like a whole roadmap that's here, that you have to. Some of the things you have to do way out in the future. So like some of the like Excel sheet stuff comes first, and then some of the graphics stuff comes second, and then you kind of get the the full programming of that third. But you also don't want to be full waterfall in your development. So it's kind of this like integrated experience along the way of doing some of all of that at the same time. It's a funky space that we're in, and hopefully people can recognize that, even if something isn't slated until Q3, it's possible that something like the creative team has to be working on it in Q1 or Q2 so that it's ready for developers by Q3. So there's some aspect of that I think people need to consider.
You bring up a good point, Aggie, and that is because a lot of people have been clamoring for it, and I feel them so much. I'm like, yes, I'm with you. I understand. They're clamoring for the land white paper, right? The exhaustive, robust, comprehensive document that is going to spell out every aspect of what land is, what it will be, what we can basically commit to saying, hey, this is all worked out, all this stuff, right? And it's like, I think the Deck B proposal, and as we change things up like every few weeks and you see these updates to the game, you realize that this whole product is always moving, always adapting, always, changing and morphing and hopefully evolving into something better. But at the same time, like you mentioned, the waterfall method, and just like saying, okay, let's work out the next 3 years of of land expansion development and all that entails, not only leading up to crafting, but what comes right after crafting and everything else. And let's make sure everyone knows what that stuff is. And it's like, well, geez, we already know that's all going to change along the way. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. So just know that we are working on getting you guys something, if not the most comprehensive white paper possible, then at least something to go off of. So we're not ignoring you guys. We understand that's a need, and we're working on it.
Yeah, and there's like a so I got a whole like hour-long session with the devs tomorrow and Matt for like brainstorming and trying to nail down kind of what the last details are going to be. So I don't know. It should be funky as we figure out like you know, code is a challenge because there's basically infinite possibilities, and while that's also exciting, at some point you have to nail them down. So Matt and I are like a perpetual balance of, I'd like to go put lots of stuff in, and Matt says, no, we have to make sure we can get it done in a certain amount of time. So we like keep shaving off, and that's just part of what we do. So and I think it leads to good products, right? Because we're not doing every idea, we're just doing the ones that make it through the cut. But that's some of the challenge of what we work through. Harry, how about you? When you're looking at this, like what strikes you as somehow on your radar, or it seems pushing, or you think it's going to make a big difference to how the game operates?
Well, I've got probably the best view of what's coming up more immediately. So I know that DEC batteries, I've seen a draft version of it up for review, so that's probably going to be done pretty soon. And as we talked about, it shouldn't be a big deal to code. 3 rule sets per battle is pretty close to being done. There was some talk about if we're going to have it ready for tomorrow, but probably in the next couple weeks we should have that ready to go. I don't know if we're going to hold on to it for a little bit, but I think we'll probably kick it out. And Soulbound reward cards, I've seen a draft of some release notes that Matt's probably going to post soon, hopefully. That should answer a lot of the questions that people have currently about those. And I know he wants to get those out pretty soon.
Cool.
Personally, I'm excited about land surveying, since I've got some plots myself.
Yeah, here's hoping that comes along before too long. Okay, let's just get me and Weirdbeard. Let's go do a little bit of Brawlhalla and see what's going on with the players. And it sounds like there's going to be something like a Dowhalla. Sounds like the players have feedback. I don't know if we've seen this happen before, but sometimes these players seem to have the desire to have their opinion heard, shared, and enacted upon.
You would
Is
think
that your
so.
experience?
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing: with community proposals finally going out, and we have our own Discord, channel essentially within our Discord itself. I think it's as usual. It's a time to put your money where your mouth is, because it's out there. We now have the ability for the community to bring proposals, to have it be backed by people, and really put some pressure, right? So that it's not just sort of monkeys flinging poop at each other. We have to actually see if it's actionable and if it's a real thing that's supported. When you put SPS stake behind these different ideas, I think it sort of actually gives direction to feedback, right? Like, it has to focus it, instead of having everybody has the opinion where everybody's screaming it on the same kind of level. It makes it so that it's kind of easy to sort through them, right? I think that we're still refining some of the processes. Later on today, there's going to be an all ping that goes out to the community, to where people are able to vote for their community leaders, right? So we're doing a straw poll to essentially find people that are representative of the community and who the community wants to see speaking for them. They won't hold any actual power. But we're trying to make it so that every time somebody pays to have one of these community proposals made, both the team will give a response, and then these people that are community members will give a response to say like, hey, we either support this or we don't support this, and this is why. And then people are still able to vote up and down of whether or not they support it. But at the very least, it gives kind of a feel of what does the community think about this? What does the team think about this?
So are these, what have you seen here? Is this stuff contentious? Is this stuff like easy peasy? Like these are the dumbest fixes and why aren't they already implemented yet? Like what?
I mean, we really don't. There's only a small handful that are in there right now. We have Peak Monsters making one saying create a dashboard to view and interact with community proposal suggestions. And then DAO proposal, which is the DAO should stake an additional 28 million SPS for a total of 30 million SPS. And both are like handedly winning right now. So I mean, like I'm anticipating because I've gone kind of undercover in a lot of groups of people that are like talking about bringing things. So right now we're seeing like power consolidation because while the fee to like get these proposals made isn't high, people are still wanting to do it with like groups of people, right? So it's like, hey, I'm not just fronting the entire fee myself. I'll get a group of people to do it. And that's totally fine. But I've listened to a lot of them. So right now there's like power shuffling of them trying to figure out like what do we bring first, who's going to be the one to do these things. They want to make sure that they're not just doing it and then it falls flat, so they're doing their due diligence beforehand. So like I think that there might be a few easy fixes in there, but a lot of it is as of right now still people trying to figure out like how to leverage the community proposal system.
What's the you think, are you hearing anything crazy like we should suspend all of Aggrod's assets or like, what's the?
I mean, a lot of it obviously is there's all the contentious issues, the things that have been in the salt mines for a year and a half now of, bots, the way ranked is organized and allowing for, other integrations or like solutions that people have for, there's a lot of monetary ones that I have to be like, all right, that's cool. Let me know, man. because it's like beyond my scope of what I'm doing, but there's nothing crazy. Again, I think like what it does when you actually make people have to, pay to put a proposal forward and have lots of people vote on it, that it makes it so that the crazy ideas are already filtered, right? Like if it's just typing in Discord and Discord's totally free, like you're going to get some crazy ones where they go, let's make Aggie wear a wig for the rest of his life, whether he likes it or not. But when it's like making it a community proposal, it's that, it's like that background check time that they put before you buy a gun to where like people think about it before they actually go out and do it. They go, maybe I shouldn't make one about taking all of Aggie's stuff away. So yeah, I think it's really low key for what you're probably anticipating it's going to be.
All right. I mean, I don't have huge expectations yet. I think this stuff will get really crazy if and when we go into like a full blown bull market.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So like let me pull it up. So in the DAO account, I think it's just shy of 60 million.
Yep.
PV, here we go. No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be in Splinterlands. So yeah, I think it's around like 60 million, right?
Close to that for right now. And like there's the one that currently exists is because I'm sure that they have it listed in here, is that right now they're asking for the DAO to stake way more SPS in there just so that they can make sure that we have more SPS in there. So right now the SPS DAO account has 58,093,490 SPS, and only 2 million of that is staked.
Yeah, and they want to bring it up to 30 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about that. I like having a higher APR on my staked SBS. If this thing goes in and does the 28 million, that's gonna bring our stake total up over 500 million. So that's kind of a cool metric. I mean, just to be able to say, hey, we have more than 500 million token stake, that's actually pretty cool. But it's also going to go cut the rewards for everybody else that's doing that. So what percentage is that? It's like 5 to 7% or something in that range. It's not the end of the world, whatever. But that one to me is like less contentious. My guess it'll pass, but who knows? The I was good. I think Gene is saying that it's 6.3, and I said 5 to 7, so that's somewhere in that right range. When I think this gets more contentious, it's like, okay, SBS is back over $1.
Yes.
And now it's got $50 million in there. And like, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to give Gene $2 million to go build something? Are we going to give Jarvie and Asgarth $2 million to go build something? If we give it to them, who voted it? Is it just like a whale friendly experience where it's just whales giving each other millions of dollars? Is it?
Well, I mean, that's why I think it's important that we have not only so that people that pay get their proposals put up, but have this community like council essentially of 5 to 10 people that are going to be able to say like, hey, I'm hoping that it's not just made up of whales. Like, no offense to whales, but it needs to be a mix of regular everyday players and whales that are able to put out a statement and say, yes, we support this, or no, we don't. Like, I think you're right. Things aren't contentious right now, but the other way to make sure that we don't have super contentious stuff is that we have discussions ahead of time. Like, I think a lot of it is the only reason that things get super contentious is when one side doesn't understand the other. Community building a lot of the times is just politicking, meaning that you're out shaking hands, kissing babies, and letting people know like, yes, I'm here for you. Hello, tell me your problems. How can I solve them? And so the way that you make it so that things aren't like super extreme, I want to burn everything down, is you have to do the politicking ahead of time. People have to have their small issues addressed so that they don't just like fester into really big ones.
And that's part of why we're sending you into the salt mines to be
yeah.
like, hey, go talk to these players and let them bring up their concerns and let's give them a forum. Again, I'm really, I was part of like the Occupy Wall Street movement, and one of the things that they did pretty well was governance. And it was part of what they did is in all the committees, they said, look, if you have like a really strong opinion of how something should work, you can't be the moderator of that because you're going to like guide it towards this thing or another. So you have to like find somebody that's really neutral to be like, okay, that person's going to go lead this thing and let's get some feedback. And so I'm hoping that you'll be this kind of like nice mix of a corporate representative, so that that this kind of comes with some official blessings and like support from the company, but not so much that we're like steering it one way or the other. I don't have some like mega agenda for how we spend DAO funds or something. That's community money. Do the things you think are best. But I also want to make sure that like we have a man on the inside, so that it's like, is this just a bunch of whale collusion? Is this just a bunch of like people voting themselves $1 million checks? I don't want to see that. Like that hurts this game. So I don't know. I think there's a balance here of some amount of support is good. If we provide a time and a space for people, that's good. But if we start dictating agendas and we're like dictating, I don't want to be like Speaker of the House, where it's like, I will tell you what issues we'll bring up, and that is the full extent, sir. This is like the people's house. So everybody gets to kvetch about whatever they want to kvetch about.
Yeah, but I think it's also like trying to make sure that players understand that the impact, like it's like with great power comes great responsibility. Like trying to have players understand that, like, yeah, you can propose to like, hey, ranked has to be played with your feet from now on. And like, sure, you can propose it, but making sure that we educate them on like, okay, but here's how it's going to impact lots of these other things that we're talking about doing. Like, it's a very powerful tool. and trying to educate and impart that importance upon players is like a large part of what I'm going to be doing. It's not about like dictating, you know what I mean? Like, hey, how do we, this is what you need to talk about and this is how we do it. It's way more about trying to teach them how to use it and bring them up to speed of like, here's what we're doing. If you propose this, this is how it's going to impact these other things. So maybe you should talk about this first or do this other thing instead. Like, I think it's a lot of, just like it's guidance. Like I'm going to be the player's guidance counselor here and just try to get them to know what they're doing.
Have you ever seen a dog that's been beaten a lot?
Yes. The
Yeah.
ones that like flinch anytime there's a
Yeah.
loud noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think Matt and I have that kind of experience sometimes with the
Yes.
players. Like,
You guys
we've
do.
we've been beaten like over and over excessively. And it's like, we want to provide this, but neither Matt nor I want like direct responsibility, and that's good for decentralization. It shouldn't just be up to Matt and I, even if we have the best intentions or whatever, we have whatever any set of best intentions could be different than what somebody else's best intentions are, and it's not right or wrong. It's just this is my preference or your preference, and it shouldn't just be Matt and I.
Well, no,
But
and
I'm so looking forward. Gene is talking about this a little bit of like this leaves a team free to put even more focus on the gameplay and other items and let the community discuss these things amongst ourselves. Like, I would so love to remove myself from like 90% of those conversations. If like something really feels like it's going to go mess up the game or like skyrocket the game, you bet your ass I'm going to get involved. But like, for the little tweaks here and there, I really feel like, if that's what the players want, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, like here's the big thing is that I like our community a lot. So like I like hanging out with them. I think a lot of the community would tell you like I spend a lot of time hanging out in other people's Twitch streams, their YouTube streams. Ron can tell you I'm one of the top donators on Splinterlands TV for gifted subs, baby. Like I'm in there and I hear the
Nice.
people that don't like me and I hear the people that do. And I think like I'm blessed to be in a position where like I am an idiot because when you recognize that you're an idiot, like I'm always kind of in the middle because hey, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I know my world and that's about it. So, like I think you're right. You need to be a CEO. Like you should not have intimate knowledge about like the way that we're trying to organize brawl fray composition and the way, you know what I mean? Like what players want one more, wild one over one more gold fray. Like go do CEO stuff. I can't do CEO stuff, right? Like I can do brawl stuff. I can do tournament stuff. I can do community stuff. And so like, it's really trying to make it so that you can do the things that you're uniquely positioned to be able to go and do, right? Like let Matt just go brainchild things out. Like he doesn't day-to-day meetings, like don't worry about it, Matt. I got you. Like we can step in and take care of this. I just want you to be able to execute the best way that you can on your stuff.
So at that level, one of the things that I've worked on hardest, I think, is really trying to implement a process that's different, and that takes buy-in across this entire organization. And it took months to try to like put this thing in place, and now it's just starting to run, right? Like we're getting through the first sprint here, and we'll see. Did it produce results? Did it get us the things that we want? And well, we can have some like conversation and feedback about it. But for like the first time in a long time, I feel like I have really good insight into this organization. And I feel like anybody around here can start looking at, what are they working on and what are they doing? At some point, it is on my brain to figure out, if there is a way that I can actually start sharing all these things with the community as a whole. And so like that whole process around, because like I remember this with Steam It, and it was like this whole, they would be like walling themselves off with concrete, and the community was like, no, we want a freaking fishbowl. We want to see everything you're doing. And I sympathize with that. I was one of those guys that was like, show us what you're working on. I got like 100,000 Steam here. I'm pretty well like personally invested in what this one company is doing, what this development company is doing. But I also want to impact it and change it and be able to go provide direction, especially if I think that something is wrong. And you know, they were horrible at that. I hope that these like weekly meetings help show that we have some transparency. And then, you know, the more that we're actually putting in governance voting and allowing people to go make changes and all that, you know, that to me, I think is all pretty critical for how we get those experiences. But that's just me kind of like brain farting of like, you know, these are all the things that I get to consider by not being yelled at by players around. Why did you have one too many alpha gold foil tournaments in this brawl, sir?
Yeah, and
You
like
know?
listen, I'm not a details guy, but I am a details guy in the sense that like this also frees it up so that, and this is gonna sound terrible, so I'm sorry. But like
I'm
I
excited for this.
I just like me, I don't need to be micromanaged. I'm a peacock captain. You got to let me fly. Like, you got to just put me in to do it. Right. And it's like, you know, we have somebody in the chat right now talking about what is being done for new players to have a more enjoyable gameplay experience. You know, what's the easiest way to make a really focused new player tutorial is to have it laser focused with one person who's like, I'm here to do this. This is what I'm delivering on. And it's being worked on. And one of the easiest ways to do it is to get the higher ups that technically don't need to be involved to go do something else because it's like, hey, just stop talking to me. Let me do this. Let me deliver on these things, please. And that's what I'm excited to be able to do. So it's like, dog, like go do something else.
So some folks know I have mentioned at times that I'm a PhD chemist. And in the process of doing that, you have, you know, a graduate student doing research and you have advisors that are there to like kind of guide. And sometimes those professors meddle, and sometimes they'll even get into the lab and actually do experiments with you. That's pretty rare. But most of the times they're just, you know, sort of meddling with you. And one of the professors that was at Texas A&M said something like, if a graduate student is producing work, the last thing you should do is interfere in that at all. Just like, if you're getting success, you stand out of the way, you like high five them, you buy them dinner or something, or you like, I don't know, whatever it is that you do, you don't mess with that. Cause like getting to that stage is like the hardest thing that could happen. So that's how I feel of like, you know, sick, good people on it. One of my favorite lines out of all of this is something like 90% of directing is casting. And it's just like, put the right people in the role, give them as much wiggle room as you can as an organization, and then let's see what gets produced.
I mean, I hit you up on Discord this weekend because I was just like, hey, man, I just want to talk to you about some of the stuff that's going on, because it's like there's a lot to speak to, like the overall process of things that are happening and whatnot. Like, it feels like the machine has started again. You know what I mean? Like that there's things happening, there's movement going, and we have all kinds of things. I've been working with Chatter. Like, we have two really big projects, including one of them being the battle pass of, you know, that's moving quite quickly down the pipeline and everything. That's something that's not on the roadmap. I promise there's movement going on. We have lots of other things that are being, you know, like worked on more than just like, hey, let's brainstorm some ideas. Like, there's a lot of work going into this about how we are going to juggle some of these projects and how we're going to deliver them. And I think it's like, I want to continue doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I mess something up, I want you and Matt to be able to come in and lay down the law. But if I'm not messing anything up, you know what I mean? Like, your day to day should not involve having to micromanage all the people below. Like, we're put in this position to deliver on these things. And the reason that I hang out with all of the players as much as I do is so that I can just do what they need to do. Like, that's my goal, is to facilitate it and go through and do the back end of actually getting the wheels moving on it.
So, you know, there's actually some of this chat that's happening in Discord, which is like, you know, focus on new player experience. And then, you know, we have it in Q2. So it's something like, you know, this roadmap really shows you when like the heaviest amount of actual development is happening on it. But all this stuff is happening like right now. There's people that like Weirdbeard is saying, there are people that are meeting about the new player experience to go figure out, you know, there's nobody in the world that can tell you if I said, hey, look, go code a new player experience. That is not like a thing. That is not a well-defined scripted, we know what has to be in this. You know, like every game is going to be unique, and every different company is going to have to go do something different. And there's probably going to be some echoes from one to the other, but you have to like literally sit down and scope out the whole thing. So when you guys see in Q2, it's like, well, what that little box really means, start development on it, meaning like start coding it, which means that sometime in Q1, Nate needs to get his hands on it so that he has some idea of like what kind of things we need to graphically show. And then, there have to be developers and leadership and people that are intimately familiar with the experience of like, what are the success criteria? What is the limiting part of a new player experience? What's harming us? What's helping us? And somebody needs to get their damn hands dirty to do all that, so that by the time that it goes to the players, you can go have like some real in-depth, not just let's make a new player experience, but it's like, no, look, dude, you have to go have this economic model. You have to go do this keychain thing. You have to go have some like basic strategy of like how to compete in the lower level leagues. You have to go through renting, and like you nail it down. And it's not just even a statement like you have to go through renting. What does that mean? What parts do you actually have to do? Are we going to include Nifty or are we not? Are you going to go to Peak Monsters or not? Is it only what's in the website or not? Yeah, like all of that stuff has to be defined. And then you have to figure out like, well, how much time is it going to take? What are the highest priorities? Which one of these are going to go through? And it's not just, I know that the players are like new player experience. And
I like
many
that
of
voice, by the way.
oh, thank you. It's I think it's mostly Cleveland from Family Guy.
I need new players, everybody.
Yeah, I need some new players. Yeah. It's just my frustrated slow man voice.
Well, like, I mean, what are the other things that you have to identify in there? I feel like this, I apologize. Everybody's listening to us and they're just like, shut up, Weirdbeard, shut your mouth. But like, you have to like have one of the things that I've developed over the past, because today is my exact 1 year anniversary of working for this company. I started 1 year ago. I signed the paperwork to start here. Is you have to develop a really strong internal voice of knowing what do I want. Like, and that voice synthesizes what a lot of people like and what you want, and like, how do you bring those together? And once you have that voice and it like is your guiding North Star, everything else just sort of falls into place. Like when people go, oh, new player experience. How many weeks have I gotten up here and say, I just don't get the economic side of stuff. Like I straight do not understand it. I am too dumb. My main driving force is it fun? Is it accessible to new players? Can we market the poop out of it so that I can go out and pull in all of the people that play League and Valorant and Apex and Rocket League and all the other AAA titles, that play Hearthstone, that play Magic, that play, Eternal, that play Slay the Spire, that play Monster Train. Like the big thing here is understanding, like, dog, I am here to deliver on that. And once we kind of like, now it's January 16th. We have had one sprint of doing a new format of working out some of these things. I have to still get through backlog tickets, like adding an info tab in tournaments that allows for a list of FAQ tournament questions. Like, yes, you have to win one match in a tournament to be able to place, or allow scheduling of tournaments on, the 15 and 45, or the ability to track specific tournament players are interested. Like, there's a lot of garbage tickets that aren't really garbage, but they're like low level ones that we have to get through. And while that's being done, planning for this new player experience and planning for like, okay, this new play mode that Chatter and I have been working on is going to be big. But it's like, now, okay, we just need to get in and make sure that we can get it slotted in there. Like, new player experiences of tantamount like importance to me. It is not going to be of tantamount importance to everybody, because everybody needs to kind of have their own championed causes. Like, making the game fun, fair, and accessible are the three like bedrock pillars of what I'm going to champion. And that doesn't mean that when Matt argues for, like economy decisions, that I'm being overridden or that we're not paying attention to new player stuff. But like, Matt has so many hands. Nate has so many hands. Nate is interested in making things like AAA studio quality, right? Like, that should be his focus. He shouldn't give a damn about like, oh, well, technically we have to be able to. I'm going to do the same voice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, technically we have to be able to do this to do new player stuff. Like, no, dude.
Oh,
like,
that was getting into Kermit the Frog. Is
Yeah,
Kermit the Frog going to judge us now?
dude, don't make me do a Kermit voice. Why are there so many?
But like, yeah, like
Frog
Kermit the
coming to
Frog
you
here
live from the
from
Splinterlands town hall.
Splinterlands.
I just like there's just so many, there's so much stuff, and I feel like we're really working through like I said, like all those all those back end tickets. Discord hated my Kermit voice. You know, like I apologize. I feel like we always ramble and I don't want to, but like we have a lot of tickets that are just being worked through, and we're eating our vegetables, as I like to always say internally right now. It's not the fun stuff. Like, I'm ready to get to the fun stuff, the dessert afterwards, but for right now, I have to do all of these other things.
Yeah, the code in this world is so weird because it's like so heavy on the back end, so heavy on the planning, so heavy on the designing, and then like it spits up in 2 weeks, and players are like, now there's too many changes. It's just, I don't know. Some of this, I saw somebody's comment of like, why are you talking about all this? We just want to see what's new, and it's something like, I need this community and this ecosystem to understand some of the development cycle that goes on here, so that you can start predicting when things will happen. You can have a better sense of how all this stuff works. That what you see on the roadmap is kind of what the developers are, but if you take a step back, you'll see that like if we put out a creative roadmap, it would be like offset by a quarter, if not more. And then if you put in like even before that, just sort of like leadership or community kind of like what projects are we entering into the hopper and trying to like refine and talk through, it would be offset even a quarter after that. So like it's not just this one roadmap. There's all of these that are sort of happening simultaneously. So
Yeah, I mean, I just again, we're working on, because I said it kind of earlier in that, like, when we do some of these bigger things like guild alliances, or even when I've talked about league locks for tournaments, right, where you get to select your own league and you lock to it for an entire season, so you're not having to bounce around. There are small problems that already exist now that if we were to scale things bigger, they go from being like kind of an annoyance to like, oh my God, this is like, what the hell is happening? It's the same thing with like ownership of guilds right now, right? Technically, if somebody just goes AFK on a guild, you're boned, like, to put it nicely, and like it's just up in the air and there's nothing you can do about it with an AFK leader. What would happen if we had a guild alliance with 10 guilds and that guild alliance leader went AFK? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so that's something that we now have to fix before we could do a lot of these other cooler things. When it comes to like new player experience and doing a tutorial, hey, if we're going to be looking at Battles 2.0 in the future, why are we going to blow ourselves out trying to get this new player experience up and then having to just redo it in another 6 months if and when Battles 2.0 comes out? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things of timing and making sure that it's done correctly so that we don't have people going, oh my God, they're redoing the tutorial again. Why are they doing other things? Like, you have to do things in a sequential order. So like I said, we get through garbage stuff right now that needs to be done, and then not fun stuff. And then go through and be able to do those bigger things like that. That's where I'm at right now, which sucks. And everybody's going to continue to yell, and I welcome them to continue to yell and reach out to me on Discord about things that they're not happy with. But like, I hope that we do get to that fishbowl day one day so that I can share all of the internal boards and everything that are being worked on, so that people will just be like, all right, we're just going to hang out and take the ride for a little bit.
Speaking of which, when is that? Let's get like the logistics out. So with Brawlhalla, when's that happen?
Friday, 3 p.m. There's going to be an announcement created tomorrow, because today you are going to get pinged in the all announcements channel to be able to vote for your community leaders. It's a straw poll, so you can nominate up to 3 people, and then we take people after that, and there will be an actual poll next week after the straw poll.
All right. Well, rock on. Thanks, Weird Goatee. Thanks for kind of taking the lead on that. I'm really excited about this. I've been waiting for this, and I think it's going to bear fruit in this community.
And last thing also, there is a ghost card tournament happening this Friday at 3 p.m. as well. It is the very first Gladiator ghost card tournament. Go check it out. It's going to be a gold level, so you're going to be playing with gladiators at gold level that most people have never experienced before. 3 p.m. Go hang out.
That sounds pretty fun. All right, rock on. Thanks, Weirdbeard. Let's go bring on Nate. I know that some folks want to get I know some of them folks want to get some eye candy and just kind of hear what's happening with the with like creative in general and just what we're doing over there. So Nate, give me something. You know, some of the players are like, you guys talk too long. I maybe that's Mum Poles or somebody else. You guys are rambling and it's terrible. Just show us stuff. So let's show them some stuff, Nate.
How much time you want to spend on creative?
I don't know, 10, 15 minutes.
All right. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, we do town halls are for talking. I would say that, a good portion of creative, actually, it's pretty much fueled and driven by the design, not the art. So a lot of people, don't realize what it is that creative does. Creative, basically, it's mostly designers, not necessarily artists. Even our artists are kind of designers in a way, to the point to where I think it's the closest our company currently has to, UX design right now kind of like determines how should things work. Usually we get a task and it says, hey, make this, make that. And we kind of plan the scope of like, what does this entail? How should it work? If you click that button, you go here. And if you click that button, it goes there. And there's a lot of that involved. And as we break down the design of overall how things should work, then we get into like, okay, well, now we need art and copy and animations and what text goes what and this, that, and the other. And so we're kind of like, even though we start at a very abstract level with the design of it all, we then get into like, okay, now what is it going to take to pull this off? At which point we it's off to the races and we run off these assembly lines, if you want to call them that, for which we need a whole bunch of runway to kind of like pump all this stuff, put it all together. So in line with what was just previously discussed with Weirdbeard, I would say that as we discuss these proposals and what everyone wants to think and how this stuff is, I'm probably going to encourage the design team to like get more involved in those discussions and like, hey, be present and offer up advice and things that we could do all together collectively. So as Weirdbeard hosts these events and these talks and these conversations, I want to make sure that people are not just looking at the technical aspects, the economics of it all. Like, hey, it would be cool to do this or cool to do that. Typically what happens is just these technical discussions happen, and then what we turn around and they become proposals, they become blog posts, people vote on them, and eventually, it falls into the UX design lap, at which point we look at that and we say, well, crap, this doesn't make sense. We could achieve the same thing in a more optimized fashion if we just kind of took this out, put this in, rearrange this, and then we did it this way instead. But at that point, it's too late. It's already been voted on. We're doing it this way. And then we end up possibly with, a design that maybe we don't want. That's not ideal for maybe a non-crypto enthusiast who's not that involved with the crypto tokenomics, or they don't know anything about blockchain. And we're throwing this very overly technical layer to the game unnecessarily. And so, those are things that a lot of people got to keep in mind when it comes to design, which is a big part of what creative does. But I understand that, hey, what people want to see is some eye candy. So let me see. The most recent proposal was dark energy crystal batteries. So for those of you guys kind of want to see the kind of like the current iteration of that, the graphic, we were looking at some different options, but I think we're probably going to end up with something like that. So now you guys have an idea of like, hey, you guys had this idea. It went through the ringer, it got voted on, and now you're actually going to see like, hey, it's happening. Like, in fact, here's a UI concept, subject to change, just like I always say, but you can see it happening. Like, what your guys' ideas are becoming a reality. That's always been the case. It's always been the case where we listen to the community and the community has ideas and we integrate them. But this is like, this is more clearly defined. Like, hey, and so it's exciting to see, what you and Weirdbeard was talking about, and the conversations that continue to happen, and planning things out and how to make them a reality. So dark energy crystal batteries are on the way. What I just shared was, subject to change, and Clearly, there's some things missing from that UI. I think the proposals tab is missing. There's some things that still need to be tinkered with, but ultimately, we're working on it, and hopefully in the next few weeks, you guys will see it implemented in the website, and bam, it'll be there, and you'll be able to point at that and say, "Crap, we did that." Like it's kind of like how we allow winners of certain promotions to design their own legendary summoner. It's like they can point in the game and say, "Wow, we helped make that happen." There's so much about this game that is like that. That's really exciting to see. Trying to see what else we could share here. Well, I mean, the big one is the Soulbound reward cards. That's what's coming pretty darn quickly. So
And I just want to mention with that, the older or the like current reward cards are going immediately out of print when these soulbound ones come in. So if you're not paying attention to this, the soulbound reward cards are coming soon, and all of the old ones, no matter if they're like at their print limit or not, they are all going out of print. So just putting that out there, reminding the people.
Yeah, there is a pending blog post that's going to have a lot more details than what just Aggie just said, and no, it's going to be pretty crazy. I think one of the big points on that blog post is going to be the fact that there's going to be, I don't know if we've discussed how many reward cards are hitting the game. I mean, I don't know if we've discussed that, but there's going to be like over 40. It's like a whole new set or something. It's like, wow, it's going to drastically change how you play the game potentially. And so what's interesting about this is the fact that these are soulbound reward cards. So typically, a lot of times what happens is you see this new meta play out at the higher leagues in whole new ways, but really it's going to work itself slowly up from the lower leagues and move upward, which is interesting. I think that is very interesting. So I can't wait to see what happens, because this is definitely going to be a different sort of gameplay across starting with the lower leagues and working their way up as people start to merge these cards together, and we see how it affects Diamond and Champion leagues later on down the road. But it's the lower leagues that will be ahead of the game, so to speak. They would have had a lot of practice in these new moves and this new meta and these new abilities and stuff before the Diamond and Champion players potentially. So that's interesting to me. So and also in regards to that, let's see what we got here. Let's celebrate with this. I took the blog post graphic that we were going to share. Well, you know what? I won't share that. You know what's more exciting is let me go into. I'm trying to remember what characters I shared in previous town halls. Did I share this Minotaur looking guy, a Dryborn Barbarian? I might have a few weeks ago, but I don't remember.
I think you should. I remember seeing a Minotaur.
Okay, so just real quick, a quick recap of previous town halls. That's what I guess I shared several weeks ago. This is what I shared more recently. I think last town hall I shared this one. So we'll get those out of the way for those people who hadn't seen those yet. Let me find something that would be really cool. Oh, and then for those of you who remember, one of the airdrops was going to be this death dragon, and then we said, you know what, we're not going to use that artwork. We'll replace them with the frail necromancer who became this low level.
Oh,
What's that?
I thought we could have seen the Minotaur before, but whatever. Keep going, Nate.
Okay. And then and so we ended up using it for the reward cards. So Kane Hayes is what replaced this artwork before, and now we're going to actually use it. So for those of you who hadn't been around at the time to discuss this potential airdrop, which is now a reward card character, I'll share that old wallpaper so that people can be, oh yeah, I remember that guy. And that guy should be cool. Yeah. I don't have all the stats, but I think that guy right there, flying, bloodlust, oppress, heal. It's like this massive, beastly, like 10 mana character, right? So that card should be fun to play. And I love death. That's probably my favorite element. So I can't wait to play with that particular character.
Every time I see this, I think it like Voltron Force is about to come together to defeat it.
Let's see what else I got. I liked where is it? This guy. This guy is I think he's Earth. Yeah, he's Earth. Clearly, you could tell by looking at him, but I wanted to confirm that. So this guy's fun. Like I just like the way he looks. I like the style to him, the way the artist portrayed him. So I'll share this one just because I like him. So that guy is called the Madcap Magus. So that's pretty good. Let me see if I can give you an idea of what that guy. He's a lower mana card, like 4 mana, but he's magic. But he has a whole bunch of abilities like Scattershot, Life Leech, Affliction, Dispel. He has like all these abilities for only 4 mana. So I think that he's going to be fun, not just because of the way he looks, but because he has a lot of interesting, I don't know, flexibility and utility to him.
Do you have all the first stat? First approach at stats on the rewards cards?
Well, you know, I have spreadsheets, so I'm kind of like eyeballing the spreadsheet and knowing full well that once it hits the QA server, that chances are they might tinker with it some more, and then they'll bring Mavs in and they'll start playing, and then we might make more adjustments. So I'm hesitant to like I, you know. So either way, I'm trying to give you guys an idea as I eyeball a spreadsheet, but
that's it. We got to get these things out quick, right? Like, you know, rewards cards are ending their print run, so we gotta actually get these things out.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we talk about, you know what, this guy in particular, like I try. A lot of you guys may notice I don't share animations that much anymore, and I think I mentioned this on a previous town hall that I haven't been sharing animations because I'm just waiting as we get closer and closer to when we're actually ready to implement animations of the game. But as you notice in that roadmap, part of that roadmap was it just says cosmetics. Like, was it like Q3 or something? And to me, cosmetics means more than what people are probably thinking of when they think cosmetics. I'm thinking all kinds of crazy stuff, right? I mentioned in previous town halls, I'm thinking like player housing and changing the paint on the wall and the flooring. And I'm thinking battle mage avatars and customizing the look of your guy and cosmetics with that. I'm also thinking about how skins can be applied to the current characters, and I've shared that before, is how skins can be utilized. But I'm thinking skins could be so much more than just, hey, let's change the way it looks a little bit. It could be, well, animations can be skins, like maybe someone who wants to like throw more vouchers or more whatever at something, they get more animation than maybe another person, or sound effects or voiceovers or all the stuff that'll eventually lead to a Battles 2.0 experience. Like, how can we, I know that Marvel Snap does, you know, stuff like that, where you play this game and boom, you know, you have totally different appearances or different animations. The cards have different animations or this, that, and the other. We can add more customizability so that the players get to say, look, this is me. I identify and want to be perceived this way, and empower them to do so. And whether that gets funneled through the battle pass system, or whether that gets funneled through an achievement system, or whether that ends up in loot chests or a voucher store, or any numerous ways that we could create new syncs within the ecosystem. Whatever, you know, it's just fun to be able to know that that's happening, that's coming down the road, right? And so with that in mind, here, I'll share, this guy was animated really cool. I like the way the animation looks. So I'll share an animation, even though I don't normally show animations anymore. So here is an animation for the Madcap Magus, which I think is pretty cool. I like the way he is in there. So he kind of like has that little cool movement going on. That's his idle animation. Yeah, and for those of you guys who don't remember me talking about animations, the idea here is that as we produce new characters, we actually produce four versions of the character, if you can believe it. We create an idle version, and then an idle skin version, and then an attack version, and attack skin version. So basically the creative pipeline is preparing the way for all this cool stuff that's going to hopefully happen in Q3. So I'm just whetting your appetites a little bit. And as we near Creative's 15-minute mark, let me you know what? I've been holding on to this, Aggie. You asked for this a while back, and we're finally going to hopefully deliver. You asked for a llama tour.
Nice.
So we are going to do that. And one task that the narrative team, so Joey and Cal Jericho, were like, let's do this upright. Let's give Aggie what he wants, a llama tour. So
or if you're chatter, it might be a lama.
There you go, a lama tour. So here is his name is Eternin Brune. And I know not everyone is all into lore, but Dan, Cal Jericho did such a great job in the lore here. I want to give you an idea of what this guy is. Eternin Brune is the warlord leader of the Drybone Anarchists, a tribalist faction that controls the Drybone Badlands in the wild northeast of Pretoria. His people see him as some kind of god and will follow his every word with blind obedience. And then the background of this character just goes on. And of course, you got a story snippet and all kinds of cool stuff. But we try to not just say, let's just make a quick character. No, this guy's going to be pivotal, and he's going to be a fire summoner. So he's going to have that cool conscript ability. I think pretentively, the intention is to make it so that he also takes away armor from the enemy team. So here in all his llama glory, Eternin Brune.
Nice.
And just to celebrate, again, I am going to be very conservative with how many skins and animations I share in the future until we get closer to quarter 3, because I don't want to just drop everything and then everyone's underwhelmed when quarter 3 runs around. But for this guy, hey, here is his here's his skin, his alternate skin. So you can kind of see both.
He's like a Scottish llamator, because that thing has kind of like it's got like a little bit of a kilt feel to me.
Yeah.
Look a lot of. I think you have to back away.
And then just to finally celebrate the reward cards in general, I will finally go back to loop it all around to where I started with the blog post graphic that we created, which I think posts tomorrow, but I'm not sure. I tweaked it a little bit so it'll be a wallpaper. So here, for those of you who want to celebrate along with us, the idea of these rebels without a cause, because that's kind of the theme for these guys. The Pretoria and the rest of the world has been conquered by the Legion. There's now this chaos empire, and in the wake of that oppression, there exist these Praetorians, these people spread throughout Pretoria who maybe didn't even fight in the war. Maybe they're just trying to keep their head under, and they're trying to just live their lives. But yet, under this impressive rule of Silas and the rest of the empire, they're kind of like becoming disgruntled. They're finally realizing that, hey, we don't like this, and maybe we're gonna start partnering up with the Rift Watchers to figure out what can we do about this. And so in celebration of that is kind of like the overall theme, and there is a wallpaper for you guys to kind of enjoy some of the characters. And some of those have the attack poses, so you'll realize that if for those of you with a keen eye, you'll see the cards and you say, they look different than on the card. That's because those are I threw some of the attack poses on that wallpaper. Okay, so there you go. There's creative. Hopefully I share enough eye candy to appease everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Nate. All right. I think that's it for some of the team presentations. I guess I gotta go do Splinterlands TV, and then after that, we only have one page of questions. So hey, Mr. Ron, are you there? Chief Clown Enforcement Officer?
Chief Clown reporting in.
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great, guys.
All right. We have this thing called Splinterlands TV. I think everybody here is familiar, but do you just we don't always do a quick intro on what it is. Do you just want to tell us what Splinterlands TV is?
Absolutely. Here just recently, we are now officially a 24/7 broadcast network that does nothing but Splinterlands. And you think maybe that would be a little bit too much Splinterlands, but it really isn't, because of how, as you guys all know, how complex this whole entire game is. But yeah, we have a rotating cast of over 60 streamers, just really dedicated community members, and over half a dozen languages. Hosts from all around the world, bringing their perspectives and their strategy, gameplay, giveaways, and just so much more. There's never a dull moment. You guys should definitely check it out. If you haven't, you're totally missing out.
Now, in the future, if we wanted to take that kind of approach, but make it, news content or other game content or other types of content than just Splinterlands, is that something that we could broaden our horizon with that same kind of tech stack?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. This is it's flexible. You just make the schedule, you make the content, and that would be just more of like a protocol issue rather than any kind of software issue. Software's there.
Nice. I'd really like to see this kind of expanded out for various types of content. So, today it's 24/7 for Splinterlands. And in the next bull market, I hope that we are putting out all kinds of content and that we are not just a Splinterlands media company, but really like an across the board media company. I'm excited by what you put together, Ron.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this right here is it's a proven system, and it's just instead of hiring, hey guys, I'm hiring you to be a Splinterland streamer, I'm hiring you to be a X streamer, and it'd be about just that simple.
Then what about how would we host content in different ways? Like if we wanted to do newscasting, we wanted, Splinterlands to have some sort of like maybe we start with gamer news and we start with like, what's going on in Web3 gaming or maybe some of Web2 gaming. What would that look like? Would it still be on Splinterlands TV? Would it be on a different account? What would that look like?
Well, if it was only Splinterlands news, then it would be on Splinterlands TV. But or if it was like mostly Splinterlands news at least. But if we're moving and branching out and really being all inclusive of all games, then it probably wouldn't be a good fit for Splinterlands TV. Yeah, so you'd have to probably make a new one just to do something like that. But you know what? I think there's enough gaming content out there and enough news and different things that are happening where something like that could actually it could be like the CNN or the whatever of gaming news, just 24/7 news. Now, in order to do it in the Splinterlands format, it would probably need a different approach as far as like how we get the streamers, but you know, that would be that would be just something that we could do.
All right. Well, these are bull market dreams that the media reach now that we have sort of a game plan and it's all specific to Splinterlands. But let's see what we could do that's not just Splinterlands. Use this same tech stack and get more content out there. So
And I think this is a really underutilized kind of format. I mean, right now, people traditionally TV channels, you'd switch to a TV channel and it has 24 hours of content or mostly 24 hours of content. And that used to be the normal. Now you have like different channels that are live maybe 2 hours a day or maybe 2 hours a week, and it's like, okay, well, is that person live or not? I don't know. Um, but with Splinterlands TV and different things that could be quite similar to that, you would know that they're always live. You would know that anytime that you decide, oh, hey, I wonder what's happening over there, you could tune in and catch something live. And I think that this is actually something that, I mean, I know why people aren't doing it, and it's because it's not an easy thing to do. They, the problems that we've had to overcome in order to make this happen, the different the challenges have been, there's not been any shortage of challenges to make this happen. But, now we've kind of got it figured out. We've been doing this now for almost a year. I believe the first week of March of last year was when we started actually doing this. And it was March 20th of last year, the same birthday as Hive, that we actually went official and we got out of beta testing and it was all announced and everything. So, we're close to a year on this, and now we are truly 24/7. Now we do have, very regular scheduling without any kind of interruptions and stuff. And, it's really come together.
I mean, could we have like a nightly news kind of thing? I mean, how hard do you think that would be? You know, some of this comes down to like the production, right? It would be like, how do you can like a normal dude out of their home computer put together something that looks like a news broadcast?
Oh, yeah, that just comes down to, I mean, like OBS, the free software that everybody here could just go download for free right now. Um, at its very simplest, can do very simple looking streams. But once you really start getting into the underlying features of it, it can do absolutely insane, complex, like TV broadcast quality streams, and and everything in between. So it just depends on the equipment, the skill level, and the dedication for someone to do something like that.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I look forward. These are not the like next priority of the business. The next priority of the business is making sure that we get out of the bear market, that we get our core development done. But if we start having like a little bit of wiggle room as a business, and if we get into any kind of like serious bull market, you can bet your ass that Ron and the entire Splinterlands TV, that tool that we've built is actually like a pretty good media tool. And I think things like Joe Rogan and Tim Cast and the other blogs and podcasts that are out there show that there's like a hunger for this. And if we could start getting different channels spun up for gaming news, real news, other types of things, if we can build an audience that way, it's a way that you can kind of like point people back to our experience, our existence. You point them to the other channels, you point them back to Splinterlands. If you can get advertisement where other people want to like get the name of their game out, they might have to come to us and ask us for, can you help get this out there? I feel like there's some, we can get the media out, that there's tools and things that we can do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe even just kind of sublet this technology stack, like license it out and then let the other people figure out how they want to fill the hours and stuff, and just basically offer the software as a service kind of thing.
Potential as well. All right, so that's all like a little theoretical. I guess that was a little down the road there. Let's hop into the play of the week, and let's see what the.
Well, we do have a one town hall shout out this week. If you want to,
you did send that to me. Let me go find that real quick. It is. I remember it being somebody I could pronounce. Yeah, it's Rick on the Mountain. Nice job, Rick on the Mountain. Thanks for watching so much Splinterlands TV.
He's also one of our streamers. Go check him out. But first, we need to. I want to cover Snapoon. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I think he's kind of like one of the undiscovered gems of Splinterlands TV. I mean, the guy is an incredible player. I believe he won second place, and you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. He won second place in both of the tournaments at Splinterfest.
That rings a bell.
Yeah, and he's just consistently just dominating people on his streams. He has this whole thing where you challenge him on his stream, and then you get to play him, and then it usually works out in his favor. I'll
more
put it
like
that
play
way.
to lose than play to win, play to earn.
But you know what? It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have, there's a lot of ups and downs and frustrations and joys. And I mean, when you do actually beat them, you feel like you accomplished something. But here's his, just so you know what you're getting into. Here's a clip to give you an idea.
No time. Okay. Oh, not to have Kitty. Jace, I think Jace versus Kitty. Oh, that's very strong.
When is he streaming?
しかしだ。この二人の
He streams very early on Friday mornings U.S. time, and then Sunday afternoon.
そう。
And of course, you can check out the whole schedule
金返してもね。
over on Splinterlands.tv.
いいじゃないかね。
There you go.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, those are the best games ever. Oh, I love that rule set. That rule set
Very
is such pure joy.
strong. Tucker Stampede Magna.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes. So that's a little taste of Schnapoon's playing abilities. I mean, you guys go check it out for yourself. See if I'm misconstruing this in any way.
All right. Well, rock on. I appreciate you kind of like putting that whole thing together, and stoked that it's been a year, and stoked that we have 24/7 streaming. And I don't know. My dream is to have Splinterlands be not just a gaming company, but like a media company. And I feel like with the tech that we've created, we could get news out, both gaming news and other types of news, and we can have a voice, and then use that voice to direct people to things that we think are cool. So I'm excited for this. Thanks, Ron. You did something pretty awesome here.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Let's I don't know. We can either bring back the full team or just me. This is good. All right. So we got the Splinterlands Town Hall pre-sorted questions. Maybe we can show those off into the Discord somewhere. And there's not many, which is part of why I went to 11:30 with this. But let me plow through some of these. Is there an idea of how much SPS staking will be equivalent to current CP requirements for leagues when the switch is made as per the roadmap? I haven't seen numbers there, but one of the big things is that we need to get delegation out first, so that whatever it is, it's actually pretty affordable. So it's not like, oh, you have to go buy 1 million SPS. You could delegate 1 million SPS, which would be like infinitely more affordable. Does unstaking SPS count towards voting on the community-led pre-proposals? I don't think it should. I think that the way that Splinterlands does it is that if you are powering down, that stuff does not count towards your votes. But I would need Matt or a dev to confirm that. Soulbound cards. I heard an idea from the community that to mint unlock the Soulbound card should burn DEC. I think this is really amazing idea to put real value to the card itself, and I don't think we need to wait until the supply ends. Please consider. So what I'm advocating for, and what Matt's advocating for one thing, and I'm advocating for another. Matt's saying, hey, look, we think it's really important that there's no way to get these other than by playing. So we want it during the time that those Soulbound reward cards are live in their edition, that there's no other way to get them than by playing. You can't buy them, you can't rent them, you can't transfer them. It's just, they're Soulbound. But then when they go out of print, what I think would be really awesome is that, that they come with 0 deck burn, but in order to make them transferable, you have to put DEC into them. You have to stake DEC on the cards, and that's what would make them transferable and all that, but only after the print run is over. And then there would be like a new set of Soulbound reward cards. So it's this neat mix of like, oh, if you want these things, you actually have to be in this and participating. And then if you want to be able to transfer them, sell them, or do whatever, you actually have to stake the DEC yourself. And, because the cards were free to you, I think that's like a really neat compromise and position. Land. When will the land potion be sold? And how many DEC is the selling price? Is it true that 10 plots equal 1 tract? So it's 100 plots equal a tract. It's not 1. There's not an official paper out that says this is how much DEC it's going to sell for. And then when will the land potion be sold? I think there's still some debate around this, but we'll see. I mean, I think that the land is meant to be out in Q1, and I think that like most of the development is done by the end of February. So maybe by early March we actually get this stuff out there. But so we're only in January, so we have something like 6 weeks to 8 weeks before we have to make decisions on these things, and we tend to make them much closer. So I can't tell you the answer just yet. Lux Vega. Lux Vega is pretty clearly in contradiction to the founder statement that no single card will be useful in all situations. So when nerf, according to the rule of Malric versus Delwyn, Lux should cost at least 7, maybe 8 mana to play. That's more of a Matt question. Because that's pretty specific. I also don't remember no single card will be useful in all situations. I think you want it where there's like some that are maximum, some that are not, and there's neutral cards that are like pretty handy in all circumstances. So I'm not sure that I agree with there's none that should be useful in all situations. I'd be interested in where that quote came from. But I'm going to let Matt answer that. So maybe we can put this on the next list of questions too when he comes back. When the batteries proposal passing, when can we expect it to be added to the game, and what will be available for it to be used on when it is added to the game? So it should be added soon. It'll be either in January or February. Will the sale just be added and no way to spend it, or will we be able to spend it right away? I don't know if we're going to allow it to be spent on potions or not. My guess is no, that it's like a future thing, but we'll see. And then would you consider replacing DEC with HBD as a stable coin within the game, considering that it's already pegged and has strong mechanics behind it? You can't use HBD as itself in this kind of stuff. So this is a little bit technical, but we don't have the keys to HBD. And technically, we don't have the keys to DEC either, because those are your account keys as well. But DEC is sort of like a smart contract where if you spend DEC and you put up something for list for sale, and we can allow all these things to transact, and there's smart contracts for that. And even if you didn't when you sign it, that's when you've shared your key or kind of put your key towards it. But with HBD, it's not a smart contract like that. So there's no way for me to force the system to sell your card using HBD. So maybe something like a swap.hbd or a pegged HBD or a wrapped HBD. But, I don't think that that's actually a significantly stronger piece to us. And DEC is a really important part of our economy. The whole point is get that damn thing up to peg. Once it's up to peg, there's a whole mechanic that people can burn SBS to get DEC. And, that's a driving force for why people will want SPS and DEC. And we can't do that with HBD either. So I guess the short answer is no. Reward cards. What will happen to current reward cards that have not reached their print run when soulbound reward cards are introduced? They're toast, or we're going to kill the end of the print run. And creative. How much time resources does it take to create a skin and or other sellable cosmetics? That's a good question for Nate.
Yeah, sure. I think. Well, I'll answer that question first, but then I'll try to answer what I think the root of the question is, the spirit in which it was written. So the first answer is. Right now, currently with the pipeline, we are, for each character we're asked to make, we make, like I said before, we make 2 skins and animations to accommodate those 2 skins, as well as attack animations for a future Battles 2.0. So in other words, I would say over the course of 1 week, an artist is able to create pose, idle pose, attack pose, then another idle and attack pose with the skin version of that character. And after a week goes by, we have 4 different characters produced, all layered and prepped and rigged for animation, at which point it's handed off to an animator to go ahead and do their thing. And at the same time, it's handed off to multimedia to add the sound effects or a potential voiceover from the person doing the voice acting. So essentially, all contained. Each character has an assortment of different people that touch it along the way, and it takes about maybe about a week combined of different people doing what they got to do in order to output not only this new character, but this character that could participate in Battles 2.0 and also provide skins and things of that nature. So that answers that question, I think. But ultimately, why isn't it already being integrated into the game with each set? Because I would say as early as Untamed, I asked the artists to start doing the artwork differently to prep for animation. So even as far back as Untamed, we have all the artwork prepped and ready to be animated and rigged and all that stuff that we would have to do. And then more currently with the current cards that we're doing in the current pipeline we have, now we're doing all this other stuff. And you're like, Nate, well, you've been doing this since Untamed. How come there's not more in the game already? Well, it's more than just what creative is doing. We have to get all the moving pieces in the company, along with engineering and testing and everything else, all in perfect alignment, where all the stars are in line and we're all running exactly the same direction. And when that happens, then yeah, maybe retroactively we can start incorporating some of this stuff that we've already been creating. But going forward, I think we've never been closer. I would say by the time Q3 rolls around, I think all the planning, all the discussion, all the things we got to do to get everything perfectly aligned and running the same direction, I think that'll be where we're finally hit our stride. And we could start then making sure that cosmetics and skins and animations and everything is just part of what we do. with everything that we introduced in the game. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, I've always wanted taunts in this game. I want like Kiara to say something like, "You did great if you were trying to lose," or like other little snippy things after they defeat you.
No,
So
absolutely.
I just feel like those little pieces are little like the summoner's dance or something, where it's just like do, and they like beat you, do, or some pose or something. I don't know. But
No, I'm totally 100% with you. And that is something we played with on the creative side, is like, how can we start making stuff like that happen? I think I talked about customizable avatars before. Like, my dream would be when you play a battle, you see you as a battle mage, like who, not the summoner, because the summoner is just someone you're channeling their power, or it's just a card you're using. That's not you. You are not Yoden. You're just playing Yoden's card or using that magic or whatever. You could be represented on the screen, right? And you see your character versus the other player's character. Bam. And then you see, different stylizations and animations and skins regarding just your character and what hat you're wearing and what you say. Kind of what you just said. You could be like, hey, taunting the other player and everything. And then once you hit the battle screen, you do see, well, what summoner did you choose? And you see that being channeled, almost like a ghostly apparition above your head. And you see all the characters talking and reacting and, oh, that hurt, or, haha, I got you, or all those different back and forth quips. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited when you talk about all the things we could do to make battles more engaging. And so that Weirdbeard has more fuel to go, empower the marketing engine, because replaying a battle now is cool and fun, and we discuss all the strategy behind what went down. But imagine all this AAA experience stuff that's going on. Like, I can imagine people taking notice and saying, wow, that does look like a lot of fun. I want to do that too. And it's not just about the tokenomics or owning the assets. It's about, that game looks like so much fun. I'm going to play it just for entertainment value. Like, once we reach that level, I think, okay, now we're cooking. So I'm pretty excited to implement those ideas that you're talking about, Aggie.
Rock on. Okay, well, that's the last question. So I guess it's time. You guys get 20 odd minutes of doing the thing. So Daru is opening it up quick. Here's go ahead and ask your questions. Zari's right there with it. So I'm starting up here with Daru. Question: an alternative to SBS staking league requirements, can't we instead have a penalty and rewards earned equal to SBS net, so that those that extract more than they put in are penalized accordingly, and not those that actually invest? Yeah, I mean, we can start looking at that as we switch out of collection power. We do things like reduce rewards if you don't have enough. So my guess is that I don't know. I don't want to like force Matt to do something a certain way, but it would be something like what we do with the cards now, that you can play them at lower levels, but they don't earn the maximum. That would be, I imagine we do the same thing with SPS staking, that you could get some, but you're not going to be able to get all the rewards if you're not staking the max. But also keep in mind, when we get there, players can stake on you, so it might not have to even be your SPS that's on there. When will Roonies be available to be rented out or in, and will it be before Rooney combining? Rooney stuff looks like that's in Q2, so that's my best guess. When will Deck B be available to be spent as soon as it's released? I'm not exactly sure. I don't think so, but possibly in the things that you can burn. Will there be a Splinterfest 2 this year? If so, when and where? We'll see. I would like there to be, if we're out of this bear market for real and we have started this bull market, and we start getting like back into exciting territory, $20,000 Bitcoin, while great and certainly better than 15.5, is not the point yet where we have like tons of wiggle room to add, more events. But maybe in like Q4 we might actually figure out how to get Splinterfest back. We'll see. With all reward cards to be terminated or replaced with soulbound reward cards, even the newer release set, or will just the older set be replaced? It's the current cards. like terminating cards, and we're not retroactively changing the things that you have. It's if there's a reward card that's in circulation right now, it'll no longer be printed and put into the rewards. It'll be replaced by a soulbound reward card, and like that. So what does the Splinterlands team think about burning different Splinterlands assets? For example, DEC SPS voucher cards to get bonus and ECR, maybe kind of soulbound token that can be exchanged whenever the user wants to top up some ECR, especially at season end when the fight is heated up. Yeah, we've looked at stuff like this. I don't know where Matt and the team landed. I think if it's a burn, that's actually kind of fun. And so it's probably a deck burn is my guess. But I don't have an exact answer. Do you have an ETA for when the reward cards are no more printed? Will be replaced by soulbound reward cards? No, but it's soon. Will the new reward cards be given in multiple BCX at higher leagues like potions are now? I believe the answer is yes, but we're going to have to wait till the white paper is finalized and put out about the reward cards. Bushwhack is asking, is SBS player staking going live with SBS delegation, or is it coming later? I think those two are slated for the same time because we won't do player staking without the delegation, but it's possible that it's later. It kind of depends on how tricky that whole thing is to actually put together. And since we're still in Q1 and the development hasn't started, it's kind of too early to share. But if we can get that out, we'll do it. And if it is a monster and it takes longer, it'll take longer. But the main point I'm making is that delegation is a prerequisite to player staking, because we're not going to make everybody suddenly own 1 million SBS on their own. And I don't know that that's the number. I'm just saying that if you suddenly have to own a lot of SBS, that's not really fair to players. But if you suddenly have to rent a bunch, that's totally different. And that to me is fair game, especially because we've been saying for months now that that's what we're going to. Will season rentals have separate market listings, or will players be able to list cards with both a daily rental price and a season rental price simultaneously? Anybody know the specifics on that on the call here?
No idea. I think it's been discussed for both, but again, I think that's a Matt decision that's still being made.
Yeah, that'll be like a protocol thing. I don't think on the protocol level it's too hard to make it so that you would list two prices, one for your season and one for your daily, but we'll see what they do. Will group editions by set be available for tournaments and brawls same time, and will they have at least a 2-week announcement first?
I mean, we're definitely going to have a heads up for it. It's probably going to be mid-February right now. But the day that we finally have an actual announcement date for it, people are going to know ahead of time.
Do you think it's going live for ranked tournaments and brawls all at the same time?
I don't think so. I just know that the main scope of it has been tournaments and brawls. So I believe that will come first.
Okay. Any chance we'll see weather immunities with certain cards' effectiveness for resource gathering on land, like GLG will have? We're still a little bit too early for me to answer that question. Generally we like to do as many different weird kinds of things of you have this problem and it can only be solved by this, unless that because of this. And we like those kind of weird, this is happening and this affects you unless that. So that weather immunity falls within the kind of things that we like, but who knows? I'm a firm believer that a large catalyst of future success lies within Splinterlands TV success. Not only does its success bring in new viewers and players, but also has the potential to open up doors for sponsorships and brand deals. What are your thoughts on adding a dedicated soulbound reward card to the channel point redemption list? It draws some massive numbers to the stream, making it more likely to be recommended, show up higher on browsing tab, and drawing in new players. I understand that by law, we can't exchange anything of monetary value as a channel point reward, but if we had soulbound reward cards with zero burn now, it would fit the bill. Seems like a win-win with a positive ROI. I am supportive. That's like a whole different problem and needs to be an epic and needs to get shoved through the system. But I also think Splinterlands TV has a ton of potential, and the tech stack that we built is really flexible. It doesn't have to just be Splinterlands TV. It could be cooking, cleaning, outdoorsmanship. It could be parenting. It can be all kinds of different content. So who knows? I'd like to see lots of that happen, and then I don't know what it looks like when it's all done that way. But now my brain is spinning. That question that way just made my brain hurt. I gotta ponder this, but I like this. I like where you're going, Lordo. All right, question. Do we have any info? Actually, I gotta write that down. I can't allow this idea to be forgotten. But I got something different. Hold on. And all right. Right. Okay, next up, Moriarty 95. Do we have any info yet on what Guild Alliance buildings will bring to the table? And is there an ETA yet? Plus, will every guild in the Alliance be able to spend DEC crowns on them? So not all that detail is out yet. Some of that is still being kind of like refined. So if you have ideas, I guess pass them along to Matt or things that you would like to see. But that's scheduled for Q2. So the refinement is likely happening in Q1. Maybe some art is happening in Q1, but all the like final actual development in the first draft of that is scheduled for Q2. Chaos, how is the team coming along with optimizations to reduce cost? Well, from the highest point, we're down already something like at least what is that? I can't even do the math. We're at like a 60% or 70% reduction from the all-time high in costs, but we're expecting a lot more. So I don't know. We're down like 40% from last month, so things are going well. Any updates on tower defense? I'm super excited for anything you can give us. The beta for that is supposed to be coming out soon. It might be another sprint or two, but I think in February we should have a beta. So, rather than just say, hey, this is what is likely to happen, or like this is what it might be doing. I mean, at some point, I think in this quarter at least, and likely in February, you'll actually be able to play it. Is there a fixed time frame for how long the Soulbound reward cards will be minted? I don't think it works like that. But, like you're seeing here, we might just say, okay, all this stuff is going out of print, and here's this new set. It kind of depends on how many players and how we give them out and all that. Is there any specifics on the time of changes being, though, for the league ratings? I don't know what that's in reference to. Do you know what he's asking there, Weirdbeard? For league ratings?
I think that's the Q1 league rating point changes that's on the roadmap. We're talking about looking at the reset points for different leagues.
Yeah, it's either that or they're talking about needing to know the amount of SPS that has to be staked to be able to get into the different leagues.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I'm going to punt that anyways because we don't have I'm not ready to share specifics. And the same with the specifics for being considered for guild alliances. What will the benefits be? We need to get out some kind of high level thoughts on what guild alliances are, and then maybe we'll go collect some feedback on them there too. Why won't the Soulbound reward cards be mintable for DEC while in print? Because we don't want whales to just be able to get whatever cards they want. You actually have to earn them. That's why. There are currently 36 Untamed reward cards and 33 Chaos Legion rewards. Why do you intend to mint 40 more Chaos Legion rewards? Shouldn't those have Rebellion borders? Nate, are the reward cards are going to be Rebellion, or are they going to be Chaos Legion?
Yeah, they're going to be Chaos Legion. And I mean, you have to keep in mind where I'm sure the players are like, well, you're almost at the end of Chaos Legion. What the heck? And that's a good point. But on the other hand, you have to keep in mind that we're at bare minimum. Like, I think if Chaos Legion ends at the end of March, and then we want at least 3 months. I say at least 3 months before Rebellion starts. That means we're essentially about 6 months away from when Rebellion launches, half a year. So yes, we could throw Rebellion frames on there, but it's like, basically for where we're at right now, given the fact that there are certain reward cards that were about to go out of circulation and we needed a solution now, not 6 months down the road, then it made sense. Like, well, Rebellion hasn't launched yet, so it doesn't make sense to have those frames. And Chaos Legion's winding down, but it still does have some time left to it. So that's where we're going with. And hopefully over time, I know, in the blog post tomorrow or whenever it gets released, I think Matt put in there like that these reward cards might be around for like 1 to 2 years potentially. And it's like, keep in mind, that's just like, we're kind of figuring this out as to like, okay, I could see over time us getting closer and closer to being able to sync up the reward cards, the frames, and the parent set so that everything is in lockstep. And that's ultimately what we want and ultimately what we're shooting for. But for right now, this is kind of what needs to happen, at least at first, in order to baby step our way to achieving that.
Do you think that we'll have Rebellion reward cards at that time, or are we going to still be putting these out?
Well, there's going to be some overlap for sure. So I'm thinking that for the next card set or two, there's going to be hopefully less and less overlap till eventually, whatever the card set is after Rebellion, hopefully we're a little closer. And then the set after that, we're definitely, boom, we're there. We're like, the reward cards match the frame of the parent set, and it's always happening at the same time. Of course, there's always those that a minimum 3-month period in between sets. It's like, okay, well, what does that one look like? Is that the old card set or the new card set? Or like, there's some things that have to be kind of worked out. But yeah, for now, this is what we're doing.
Well, that reminds me, I should probably mention, if I go to the shop page, there's 2.4 million packs remaining. So in, I don't know, 15 to 20 days, we'll be under 2 million. And I don't know what time FOMO kicks in. I have never seen a pack edition run out where there wasn't FOMO at the end of it. So I don't know where that happens. Is it the 2 million mark? Is it the 1 million mark? Is it the 100,000 pack mark? I don't know. But at some point, this thing is going out of print. So we are we're kind of running out here. What is 2430 divided by so we're at 16% remaining. So I don't know, guys. This thing is going to kick off. My guess is 10%. Will we get down to 1.5 million? But it might be 2 million packs. I don't know. But we're getting down to the very end of this thing. So it's 100% guaranteed to end before March. But we'll see what you guys do. They're current. We just did that. Some reward cards are just 10% printed. You will stop printing these cards, printing as well as making them among the rarest cards here. Yeah, that sounds like what we're gonna do. How is capital raise going? Any progress on raising needed money? I have lots of meetings scheduled, but nobody has written me a check yet. Question: will the 3 rule sets only be available at Diamond Champion level or also at Gold? I don't actually know what decision was made there, but it's definitely like later on, not earlier. Question: will the new Soulbound reward cards have Soulbound summoners as well? I believe that's a yes. Isn't that a yes, Nate? That they're the ones with the conscription ability, right?
Yeah, conscript. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. That's they're coming. Question: are Soulbound reward cards given in packs or cards? That's a weird. I don't know how to answer that. They'll be like individual cards, but then it'll have like that red banner in the top right where you might actually get more than one at a time. So, but it wouldn't be like spread out. You wouldn't get like 5 separate ones when you like reveal the one chest. It won't give you 5 unique different cards. It might give you 5 of the same rare, life summoner or something, but it won't. When you open that up, it wouldn't give you 5 separate ones. I don't know if I explained that appropriately. Question: when will the change from collection power to staked SBS? Won't that devalue older sets? I see why on the one hand to bring more people into SBS and demand for it, but on the other hand, one of the key benefits to having older alpha cards is because of CP. So what are your thoughts on this? That's a minor effect. I still think that you're going to want as much SBS as you can, and that we didn't even dream of SBS back then. So this is a change. I don't think it really devalues older sets because you still have some delta there, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the older sets give you a little bonus or something. I don't know. I haven't thought too deeply on that. Soulbound cards, when the cards become unbound, will it time out for when the pack edition they are associated with cycles out of Modern? Can anybody interpret that question from Ryan 600 for me?
I think they're asking, when can you unbound the card? Is it after the set is done, or is it after it leaves modern format?
I think it's when it's out of print. So whatever condition makes it out of print, that's the time that we would allow it to get some DEC or maybe vouchers to be put into it. And my guess is that you would have to stake DEC and burn a little bit of vouchers to go make your cards unbound. That's how I imagine that now. How's your MLK been this far? It's going really well. I like to measure the value of a person by their character rather than the color of their skin. Hopefully you guys do as well. Question, can we look into raising minimum rental costs back to 0.1? It appears that when 2-day rentals came, this limit was removed and some cards are renting way lower. I have mixed feelings about that. I think this can end up being like a player proposal that it's not like the DAO thing. So DEC is not like a DAO token the same way that SBS is and vouchers are. So that's because SBS doesn't have any obligation on the company, whereas the company is always accepting DEC for things. So if we start changing the print rate for that, that's a little bit different. So I don't know. I kind of think that minimum wages don't work, and that it just makes it less likely that people will rent these cards or it'll actually hurt the economy. If the majority of players look and think differently, then maybe it's something that we try. But you guys got to go put together a proposal and see if that works. Are we doing maintenance during the town hall? I don't think that there should be any maintenance today. Harry, do you know of anything going on?
Now, if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see that you got rate limited by trying to buy too many cards at once.
Well, yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, go buy them cards, bro. Buy them cards.
I know I'm experiencing FOMO while we're in the town hall. Like everyone is leaving a rush and buy cards. I'm like, oh no, I gotta go buy some cards too. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see about $7,000 of market activity that have happened in the past, 20 minutes. So people are buying. People be doing stuff. Okay. Well, that's the end of the questions, and we're pretty close to the end of the town hall. So why don't we call it quits here? I know I got a call that's starting in 2 minutes. So anyways, look, high level. I don't know if this is the case or not, but I can tell you I'm pretty damn excited thinking about and dreaming about what happens if we have finally broken this damn bear market and we are back in bull territory. What a freaking dream. How awesome would this be if you guys are here now at the bottom of the bear before the next giant leg up? I just want you to dream about that. I want you to think about that, what that means for you and your family and everybody else. God, and how much fun it'll be, to battle and earn and have the tokens be worth more and be able to go just bring in the bacon, bring in that bacon. Should be awesome. So, anyways, I do want to just say thank you to this community. I know it's been really salty. Here, the Wall Street sentiment chart. So I like looking at this thing because I think that there's some real pieces to this. So when I go through this, and I have this entire community to look at, and that there's this long anger phase, and all the players are angry. I'm like, oh, well, that seems to go into this Wall Street cheat sheet here that I've seen in the sentiment cycles. Fascinating, very fascinating to me. It doesn't mean anything one way or another. You can't prove something that one way or the other, but that definitely resonates in my brain. I see all this anger, and I'm like, oh. And then I see people saying, oh, this relief isn't going to stick. It's all going to go back down. Everything is going to get crushed. I'm like, oh, start seeing some disbelief. I don't know. I like that sentiment chart. I seem to see echoes of it. But anyways, I know it's been rough. I know it's been a rough year. 2023 has many things looking like it'll be better than 2022. So I'm personally excited and stoked. I'm grateful to the team members. Thank you, Weirdbeard. Thank you, Nate. And thank you, InvestyGator. Appreciate you all being here. appreciate the players. You guys are great. Thanks for grinding out the games, and here's to the folks that grabbed those reward cards before everybody else. And I don't know, should be pretty awesome. I appreciate you guys being here, and should be great. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Happy MLK Day.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you.